Today we are talking about India, and we are so excited to be doing our first retreat in Rishikesh, India in October. So welcome, Nataraj.
Nice to be with you.
You are leading this beautiful experience that we're going on. And today, I guess this episode is all about India and who this retreat is for if you're interested. For me, this is really exciting because it's my first time going to India. I've never been. I've always wanted to go, but I felt, I think the word is scared or a little bit unsure of what the experience would be like. But this feels really held, and the experience that you've curated is just going to be so fabulous. So let's dive in. Firstly, let's hear a little bit about you and your background and your experience with India and teaching yoga.
Yes, so I have, at this point, this is my 20th year teaching yoga. And I started a daily meditation practice at the age of 13 and did my first yoga teacher training a couple of years after that, actually. And I've just grown up around people who have presented yoga as a full holistic system. So this includes not just the postural aspects of yoga, but yoga as a system of refinement and elevation and liberation for our inner world and how we can live joyfully in our outer world. And so this means meditation and mantra chanting, and a full embracing of the spiritual and cultural elements that come from yoga's birthplace, which is India. I've spent many, many years living in ashrams, both in India, abroad, and in America. And so I feel like I've been a great devotee of India for a very long time. I've taken many trips to India, and I'm just so excited. There's so much on offer from going to India. India is one of those places that I would call the most. I've loved the most. I've lost the most. I've experienced the most. It's a place where the volume is all the way up. And there is a unique kind of agony and ecstasy that are on offer in India that it's not available anywhere else. There's no place in the entire world like India. And so if you're interested in transformation, in growth, in a culturally immersive experience that will enkindle the fire of devotion inside of you, there's no place like India. And so it is my great passion and my great good fortune to be able to introduce people to India in our retreat together.
So let's talk a little bit about the retreat and I guess why we chose Rishikesh.
Yes, Rishikesh is what we would call, is often referred to as the capital of yoga. It's the birthplace of yoga. It's a very sacred city, sacred to Lord Shiva, who is thought to be the Adi Yogi or the first yogi. And it is a land that is filled with ashrams and monasteries and temples and holy men and women who have dedicated their whole lives to the practice and pursuit of yoga. It's breathtaking. It's beautiful. And it's also a place that throughout history, it's seen a lot of people come to India, specifically to Rishikesh, to have this experience of yoga. And so it's a wonderful place where you can sort of ease into India. And so Rishikesh, it's like the Disneyland for yoga in some ways. There's so much on offer, but there's also a consideration where they're used to a lot of Western tourists coming to this place. And so there is a kind of care and consideration that Rishikesh offers that I think it's good for entry-level India experience.
I've only seen photos and videos, and obviously we've worked quite closely designing what we're not even really calling it an India retreat. We're calling it a transformation because it's so much more than just a yoga experience, correct?
That's right. Yes, it's a total immersion in practice and culture of India. And so we'll live in a way that allows us to truly receive what India has to offer, which the incredible vision of India is that the spiritual and the mundane, they live not only side by side, but totally enmeshed in one another. Spirituality is woven into the very breath of India. And so that level of devotion, that level of being immersed in the sacred, it is totally transformational. Just to be around a culture and a people who are so devoted, who are living a life in accordance with this higher and finer set of values. It's so moving. The love of the divine and love of life is palpable in India, and it brings a kind of appreciation for one's own life and asks us to engage in a deep level of inquiry about what's important to me, what makes my life meaningful, how do I live a life of devotion. And I think anyone who's sitting with sort of big questions like this, they stand a lot to gain from leaving their familiar, ordinary life for a while and just immersing themselves totally in the magic of Rishikesh.
And personally, I think I'm drawn to this experience with you because while I feel life at home is quite easy and easeful, I like pushing myself out of my comfort zone. So as you speak, I get quite excited about what's ahead.
Yeah, I mean, India is filled with mystery. It's filled with excitement. It's filled with the spiritual, with the miraculous. And because you are leaving your ordinary life to immerse yourself totally in a whole other worldview, there is some level of agitation that is very likely to occur in India. There's an idea in the wisdom tradition of yoga that's called tapasya. Tapasya means like self-discipline, but literally tapas means to burn. And there's an idea that that which is agitating can also be elevating or purifying. It can be expanding. So the challenge of being in an environment can also be used to change you, to facilitate deep growth. And so we'll have this spirit of tapasya while we're on retreat together, where we're using every experience that arises. And so many unpredictable experiences do arise in India. It's just the way it is, But we'll use everything that arises as nourishment for our growth. And there's a kind of spirit of Rishikesh that in Sanskrit we would call it mumukshutva. Mumukshutva means one's longing for liberation, one's longing to feel free. And when you hold in your heart a deep wish to grow, no matter what happens, everything becomes nourishment for that growth. And so with this really being the spirit of what we're doing together in India, I think transformation is guaranteed.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
So what would a typical day look like practically on this transformational trip?
All of the programs on retreat are optional. It's a wild and dynamic environment. And there's times where you may feel called to do more resting, or there'll be times where maybe we feel called to do more practice. So you can sort of choose how much or how little you want to engage in the daily schedule. But in the morning, we'll have morning chanting and meditation. We'll have a hatha yoga class. Then we'll have all meals together, breakfast. And then after that, there'll be a bit of free time to sort of explore the magical terrain that is Rishikesh. Some people may choose to get Ayurvedic treatments or massages or do a bit of shopping. One of the great joys is shopping in India.
I've heard about
textiles in India are amazing. And piecing together one's wardrobe for India is like, it's filled with so much bliss. So there'll be time for that. And then in the afternoon, in the early evening, we'll attend Ganga Arati. There's a tradition of going to the Ganga River and performing the ritual worship of the river, because from water comes life. And so they honor the river Ganga as the living goddess. And so there's a beautiful ceremony of making offerings to the river and waving lights with the chanting of Sanskrit mantras. And that'll be so beautiful. There'll be, we'll come back to the retreat center. We'll have dinner together. And then in the evening time, there'll be time for Q&A, for what's called satsang, this kind of a sort of wisdom session. There'll be chanting and meditation, and then sort of also lots of spontaneous special surprises that will be occurring. Certain day trips to places of pilgrimage, temples, ashrams, these kinds of things. And, chance encounters with remarkable human beings.
delicious. So our hotel is gorgeous and it's right on the river, isn't it? And
Yes.
it has a pool that overlooks that, and that's where we eat all our meals. My question, to you is I guess the stomach and our food situation in India can be a challenge for some people, and I guess a concern.
Yeah.
That's why we've chosen to have all the meals to be eaten at the retreat center, which
That's right.
are fantastic. What about some other kind of more local experiences, whether it's eating food or shopping? Is there anything else that's on offer?
Oh my gosh, there's so much. If you're a lover of chai, you're going to find chai like you've never had it before. It can be quite addictive. Yes, there's amazing chai and shopping, amazing food. There are certain practicalities that we'll talk about. There are ways to sort of take more calculated risks in India and to make smart decisions around food and drink. And we'll go over all those kinds of things so that you feel well equipped to make informed decisions for what you do and where you do it and why you do it.
Yeah, fantastic.
But there's so much support. And on the off chance that even you do get sick on retreat, this retreat actually has quite a large staff that's going. There's dear Blanche and my dear friend Rabia. And so there's a network of care and support that's going to be available to you on this retreat, not just for practical things like health and safety, but also sort of pastoral care for questions that arise when going to a temple. How do I put on a sari? These kinds of things, you'll be in good hands and you'll be in good company.
Yes, it's a really guided experience. And I think, early on when we curated this together, which was last year.
Oh my God, can you believe?
Yeah, a year ago. And these are things we discussed and thought about. And it's intentionally 10 days so we can have that immersive experience and to slow down so it doesn't feel rushed.
That's right. You're going to have time to really ease in and get over your jet lag, to feel like you've really got your feet on the ground, to get your bearings, without the pressure of time to be like, oh, we've only got 5 days in India. We have to see it all. And to be honest, you're never going to see it all. Even just traveling from town to town or city to city in India can be like shifting from world to world. But we have put together an itinerary of things that what I feel are sort of the crown jewels of Rishikesh and its sort of neighboring city of Haridwar. And the places that we're going to see will just take your breath away with their energy, with their power, with their peace, with their beautiful chaos. It'll be a feast for the senses.
A feast for the senses. So if you are somebody listening to this and maybe you're unsure if this is for you, it's definitely not for everybody. That's for sure. What would you say to those people if they're thinking, is this for me? Isn't this for me?
I would say if you deeply wish to grow, if you want to deepen your understanding of what yoga has to offer us as a complete system, if you're sitting with big questions, if you're re-examining your value system, if you just feel a longing in your heart, that kind of indescribable wanderlust that leads us from one thing to the next in our life, if you feel sort of pregnant with that feeling, I would say answer the call. If there's a longing in your heart to have an experience that will surely make an imprint on you, this will be it. And it'll be a net positive experience, don't worry.
I think I'll add to that. If you want to have an experience with a group of people as well that are all like-minded, that are from Melbourne, that feel, like you said, held. It's a really beautiful experience to have together. I think that's what I love about retreat experiences, the friendships and, the connections that are formed are just pretty magic overseas.
Of course, yes. And you will experience something profound in community. And I mean, we live in an age of a kind of loneliness pandemic. And suffering happens in monologue, just you in your head thinking your thoughts. That's, quintessential suffering. But healing happens in dialogue. Healing happens in community when stories can be shared in safe spaces. And we're going to be together in satsang, in good company, in community, in a very holy place, doing a very holy and ancient practice. And the grace that's on offer from such a thing there's no limit.
Well, if you are considering wanting to come to India in October with us, please reach out. We understand that it's a huge undertaking of time and energy and money, but like you said, it's a real phenomenal experience. So,
right.
trip of a lifetime. I can't wait. So thank you again. I'm so excited. See you in India.